Hello! How's it going? HeirofCarthage here. Heir of Mars? Heir of Salt. What's going on, Regina? Matthew, thanks for joining. Senshi, the ever-present prophet bat. Bat rat. Bringing the double words, yes, yes. Thanks for joining me tonight. It's kind of an impromptu stream. I wasn't able to stream yesterday because things were extremely busy at work, and I even carried over a little after normal working hours, and then I wanted to just spend some time with the boys. Today was also extremely busy, but I was like, you know what? We're not missing any more days. So I'm going to stream tonight, and I'll stream again tomorrow night. I think tomorrow night we'll do another, like, winter stays type battles in Warhammer 2. So tomorrow at the same time, we'll do some of those. Bones Malone, I was hoping you'd make it here, because you said that you were wanting to learn how to play the game. I'll try and give you a few tips. We're a little further into the game, but I'll still try and give you a few tips. But yeah, anyway, what I wanted to show you as part of it... Oh, whoops, here. Maybe I should switch over to the game screen, and then you all can see something besides just the welcome or starting soon box, since we've already started. That's somewhat dishonest. False advertising, that's right. Take me to court. Anyway, we're going to get in here. Let me just send out a tweet real quick and let everybody know that we is live. I'm going to send out a tweet to the Twitterverse, to all the twits. All right. I told everybody that if they don't join my stream now, that it means they hate puppies. I don't know what that has to do with surviving Mars or the stream, but hey, I threatened it anyway. No one can stop me. All right, so here we go. We're live. Coming to you live from Mars, where everybody who doesn't join is a puppy hater. So, Warner, welcome. Marcus, good to have you here. I wanted to show you all a few things. When we last left off on this mission to explore above and beyond, or below and beyond. Below and beyond. That's what it's called. The whole below and beyond thing. When we left off on it, our colony looked a little something like this. And I will show you. And then I will kind of explain what I have done since then. Because when you want to explore the below and the beyond, there is a little more to it than just suddenly going to the below and the beyond, right? You got to have a lot of technology. So your technology tree is in here. The ones with the green check mark we've already researched, and we're cutting through a good amount of research per soul. But you need a whole bunch of these techs over here to make exploring underground more possible, and then you need things like, they have these little jets that can transport people and materials across the surface of Mars without, a lot of slow time, in between pads and stuff, so it's very helpful. You need that tech, basically. And then for the asteroids, there's certain buildings and stuff that you need. And really the only way to get a hold of them easily is buying them with your funds from being a sponsor. And I am sponsored with the international mission, which means we get a ton of money. But even with that whole bunch of money, you'll run out of funds really quick. I'm going to switch over to the classic Surviving Mars radio for a minute. So yeah, even with all that money, you run out really quick. Because you buy these extractor buildings that you use to explore an asteroid, and you're really looking for these exotic minerals right here. They can only be found on asteroids. Then the exotic minerals help you build stuff for the underground, which of course we did, kind of explore a little bit underground last time. So here's the underground, and we need the exotic minerals to be able to build more stuff down here. So really, you need to be out exploring asteroids first. To be able to exploit asteroids well, you need a certain building, and that building is one of the dome buildings. You can build right here. It's this recon
Anomaly
center.
analyzed.
It takes a lot of electronics to maintain, uses a decent amount of power, takes a lot of electronics to build. It even consumes electronics. So you really need a steady supply of electronics before you should be getting out onto asteroids. So what I'm saying here is we're going to take things one step at a time, okay? Right now, our little colony is producing some... we have an electronics factory here, and we're producing... we've got this other piece of the colony down here, so we're just now getting stable with electronics, but we need way more colonists. We've got to get way more electronics, and we need to just keep banking up things, okay? And then it says this dredgers thing here, too. The dredgers was the mystery. You can choose to turn on a mystery event every time you play Surviving Mars. And the dredgers, I can't show it to you here, but it was basically like these little alien drill things that would come down from space.
Mission control. We've detected another incoming object.
Actually, you may get to still see one come here. So the dredgers, they land, and basically they eat up resources, and you get to choose how you want to react to it. In the end, it actually wasn't that exciting. I won't spoil anything, but it wasn't very exciting to me. With what happened with the dredgers, we got to learn a few things afterwards. Again, don't want to spoil it. I'm not going to show that here. But anyway, this was me getting started, right? You have to have the rare metals so that you can make electronics. You've got to have metal to make machine parts. And then you got to have water and engineers to make polymers. And you need all of these advanced resources to be ready to explore asteroids. So I played the game for a few hours on my own time and got us to a point where we're ready to explore asteroids, and I explored some, and I got to learn a thing or two about what could happen when you're up there and kind of the ways to go about things. So fast forward several hours, and this is now my colony. We have about 327 colonists. The only dome that's different is I built an additional dome here, this large oval dome. And of course I built more places to live, like this fancy-pantsy new skyscraper. And I even have a sanatorium. This is the best part of the colony. You see this sanatorium here? Heir makes you crazy when you're on Mars. He feeds you nothing but soybeans and salt and other horrible things, and there's asteroids crashing all around us, lots of issues. And so I built the sanatorium so that you'd have a place to come sit and get rid of some of the bad traits that you're obviously going to pick up when you're a member of my colony. So this was me giving back to my colonists. Warner, I wish I unlocked the handguns tech. There isn't one, unfortunately. But they should have a handguns tech. It would have taught those dredgers a lesson. But anyway, yeah, so we're in good shape now. We've got a lot of polymers. You can see me stacking them up here. We've got a ton of machine parts that we're piling up over here. And then my electronics factory is going full bore. And let me explain a little bit. Once you get a colony going, one of the things you need, there's two things you really need to get as quickly as you can. One is you've got to establish a machine part and electronic supply as quick as you can. I mentioned those. You do that. You need, as far as base materials, you have to have metals to make machine parts. You have to have the rare metals in order to make the electronics. Once you get those resources, you build over here. So it's telling me an asteroid's heading out of range. I'll talk more about that in a minute. The electronics factory, you can see we're cranking out 13.8 electronics per soul. And you can see we've banked up over 300. We're pushing out 16 machine parts per soul, and we've banked up over 1.4K. And I also built up a whole bunch of research, and I have a whole bunch of genius colonists, and I'll explain that a little bit later too. But so in any case, I'm able to supply all the raw materials. So I built the recon center. Remember the building I said that you have? So this building looks for asteroids, and when it finds one,
No active research. Research complete.
I think that this is trying to correct. If you all can hear me, press F in the chat for my upload speed. So if you all can hear me, press F so I know what's going on. And then I'll try and explain here in just a moment. But I think it's live again. Alright, I'm getting some Fs here. Good deal. I've probably lost most of my viewers because everybody thinks that the stream crashed, so it's definitely very helpful. Like, so I just have to give you all this advice. If you ever want to run a YouTube channel and you're looking to confuse your viewers and you want them to be frustrated because you never know when the stream's going to cut out, then get Cox Internet. Like, it's the way to go. Their unpredictable service will leave your viewers hanging in suspense all the time. So we lost over half our viewers. Hopefully people will come back here, but we're live again. So I don't know how to explain to you all what happened whenever this happened. But essentially, if you imagine that Cox's internet line is like a toilet, drain line. And let's say that, you have Grom come along, and Grom eats a lot of food. And when he has to go, let's just say that it's enormous, just like Grom himself, okay? And when Grom's droppings hit that toilet line, it inevitably gets clogged. And all I can imagine is that Cox's internet is so bad and so old that there's some type of internet turd clogging the line, and suddenly all of my internet speed will just stop. And then now it's back. It's like the turd had to be squeezed through there. So again, I don't know how to explain what happens with their internet, but anyway, we're back. We're gonna try this again. I'll keep an eye on things over there, but for those of you who decided to stick with me, thank you. And especially those who decided to stick with me after mentioning Grom's turds. I know that can't be a pleasant thought to be brought to mind. So yes, appreciate you. I don't know exactly where it came out. It is a peculiar analogy, but it's the only way that it works here, Warner. You see, Grom's turd is disgusting, and Cox's internet is like Grom's turd. It's the best way to go. Alright, I don't know where it cut out. We're self-sufficient in the things we need. Research-wise, I'm now getting a ton of research every day. And so I'm basically just working my way down through the research tree. And as we do this, it opens up more and more options to me. And makes things more available. So we want to go explore an asteroid. And I want to show you all how that works. Assuming that we don't get any more attacks on our internet service. I'll go ahead and hit play here. In order to go to the asteroid, I need some prefab buildings, and the building I need is a Micro G auto extractor. This is a building that without any workers, just with electricity, this building can pull exotic minerals out of an asteroid. So I'm going to send some of these up from Earth. I'm buying them from Earth because I can't produce my own right here at the moment. So I'm going to grab these extractors. They'll be arriving soon on a supply pod. I do have an asteroid landing ship. You have to purchase these as well. They cost a lot. So I've got the asteroid landing ship, and in the asteroid landing ship, you have to kind of pick a payload to send it with up to the asteroid. You can send more than one as well. And this gets a little tricky in the game because you're telling the rocket all the things that you want to put on it. You have a payload limit. And if there's anything missing, even just one thing missing from the payload, the rocket won't take off. And you'll start getting all frustrated, like, how come the rocket's not leaving? And it's because one thing either can't be picked up or just is not available, or they're waiting or whatever. So be careful what you put in here. You're going to need fuel for your rocket to come back with. And in my case, it takes 30 fuel to get the rocket back. So I put a little extra here, I don't know, in case something happens, just in case. I bring some metals. I bring drones, because the drones have to do the work for us when we're up on the asteroid. And I bring a little bit of concrete and some polymers, because I'm going to need the concrete and polymers and metal to build solar panels and a battery to keep the electricity going at night. And then, of course, we have the prefab building. So this is kind of like my base loadout for heading up to explore an asteroid on kind of like just a minimalistic type thing. Now, when you go up, you can actually build stuff on an asteroid. You can take people up there. I haven't risked that yet. The other thing that I like to bring when I go up to the asteroid is I bring an RC Explorer, because there are anomalies, and I bring an RC Commander so that I have something to command my drones in case anything happens to their command building. So that's kind of the approach that I've been taking with exploring the asteroids, okay? And the next time we get an asteroid that comes into range, we'll go explore it. The Church of the Newark is offering me some food for machine parts. I have a ton of machine parts. I have a ton of food, but we'll take them up on their offer. So since the Church of the Newark is the one bringing it to us, is this going to be like a church potluck, with all the food they come and drop off? You just don't know what you're going to get. Joe T. Hey, Joe T, how's it going? Thanks for joining us tonight. It's good to see you. He says, Heir, I got this game the other day when it was free, and I'm playing it for the first time right now. Well, I'll tell you, Bones Malone, are you still out there too? If you're out there, I'll tell you this. Whenever you all, if you stick around, what I'll do is, what's blocking stuff here? I don't understand. Oh, okay. You have to have room around it for it to land. That's new. They must have dropped that in the hotfix. Oh, no, it's the trade rocket that was coming in. Never mind. What I'll do is we'll go explore the asteroid. Okay, so stick with me, Joe, if you want. Bones, stick here. Anybody else who wants to learn the game. Here in a little while, after I show people the asteroid, we'll go start a new game, and I'll give you some tips for getting a colony started for the first time, okay? So if you all hang tight, we'll go start a different one, and I'll give you some tips for getting a colony started. Chenmei says, morning, Heir. Have a great day. Gotta go to work. Morning where you're at. But yes, I do hope you have a good morning, and I hope you have a good day at work. Thanks for joining in, even if it's just briefly. Definitely appreciate you. Thanks for stopping by. So yeah, you all stick around. We'll go explore the asteroid. We're just waiting for the next one to come by. Our recon center will let us know when it gets close. And yeah, anyway, so one thing we could do in the meantime, if we want, just for fun, because we've totally got enough resources, is we could go ahead and build a new dome. And we might want to decide where we want to put said dome. We've got a lot of options. There's a ton of rare metals and other things that we can take advantage of over here. Like, oh my gosh, there's so many rare metals here. There's an underground vent here too. And this might be a better place to build an entrance to the underground versus the one we have, but it's okay. Corey says, just got the game too. Some tips would be great. Well, yep, stick around. Here in a little while, after I show you all what the asteroid looks like, I'll definitely go get you some new colony tips, okay? I'll try and get you all set up. I'm not great at the game, but I know enough that I can get a successful colony started, and I'll teach you that. Warner wants to know where we're recruiting the Armageri Defensores from. I don't know. They haven't put an Attila mod with this game yet. I don't know why. I need to get busy. Paradox, please. When is the Attila mod coming for this game? Man, that makes me realize, Warner, just how long it has been since I have played Total War Attila. It's been an exceptionally long time. It has been an exceptionally long time. Alright, I'm gonna let my drones clear this place up, and I'm gonna build a new dome over here. Domes take quite a lot of concrete and polymers, and then you also have to supply them with water. I've got a pretty solid water supply there, and then I've got a ton of water waiting right here. So we've got a good water supply for quite a long time. We've got this dilemma that pops up. It says, we've managed to confirm the existence of the Oort cloud. Well, I thought we knew about that already. For a long time, the Oort cloud was only hypothesized to exist, but even though it was considered likely, we had no concrete proof. The cloud's mainly made up of icy planetesimals, and is believed to be the origin for many, if not all, Halley-type comets. This discovery solidifies our view of our own solar system, and we're one step closer to unraveling the secrets of the universe. In acknowledgement of our efforts, sponsors are asking us how they can best support us. Make further discoveries. So we can take some funding, which is always helpful. We can get more scientist applicants on Earth, which I really don't need, because I have a Martian university where we can train our own scientists. Or we can get extra research. I mean, I've got plenty of funding for the moment. I'm just going to take the research. Extra research is never a bad thing. Alright, so I think we're done clearing this area out. What I can build, if I remember right, on the domes... We have a mega dome prefab that was handed to us as a result of my completing all of the missions. So, or actually, we got it from this one right here. Have 10 Martian-born scientists. So we completed that, and we got this mega dome prefab. So we don't even have to have any of the materials required to build it. We just have to be able to supply at least 4 oxygen and 4 water. When I take a look, our oxygen production is well within what it needs to be. The water, it looks like we don't have it. I don't know why they show it like this on the screen, but if we go to one of our water production things, see, like this particular thing, it says can produce 3.5 more, and then same with all of these buildings. So we can produce enough water. We're not using all of our production capacity, so let's get the Megadome. We need to make sure that the Megadome, yeah, is close enough to these rare metal deposits. And you might be thinking, Heir, that one rare metal deposit, it's too far away. Well, don't worry about it, because if we place our building towards the edge of that little thing, we can still reach it and mine it. So basically, this dome will give me extended access to rare metals. Now, what we could do is try and build it further up, but I mean, like, yeah, it'll overlap that deposit. This thing's too big to build up here. Try and get access to the other metals, but we're fine on standard metals. I'm not concerned about our access to it. So we're gonna build this dome. We need to supply the dome with electricity and water, oxygen. So I'm going to connect our electricity here. And then I'm gonna build some pipes so that we can get water and oxygen. There we go. So I've now got water and oxygen on the way. We're gonna need another drone commander or drone hub out here so that we can actually service this dome. My drone hubs don't have to be connected to electricity anymore because of some technology that I researched. So I'm gonna build it just right up here. Put a couple of supply pads down here where we can store stuff. Universal depot. You always usually want to keep a food depot next to a dome, especially a large one like this, and it doesn't hurt to put it kind of like right next to the door. So I'm going to do that. This game is Surviving Mars, Sky High. It is published by Paradox. I think it's Hyamont was the company who produced it. It's basically a city builder where you can build a colony on Mars. You can terraform Mars, you can explore underground on Mars, and you can now explore asteroids on Mars if you get the DLC. The base game, you can build the colony on Mars. I believe the terraforming, the underground, and the asteroids. So the terraforming is one DLC, and then the underground and asteroids are another DLC. But the base game, you can build a colony on Mars as a base game, especially if you get this game on sale, or when it was free, which was a really good price. Definitely worth it if you can get it on sale. Heir, have you ever played Planet Base? Seems like a city version of that game. I have not played Planet Base. I'm not familiar with it. Anyway, we're going to build this dome. Once we're done building the dome, I'll go ahead and start to set up some services, because right now I basically can't have any more colonists because I just don't have any more places for them to live. So we're going to build another dome and let people start breeding like rabbits. How's it going, Praetorian? Thanks for joining us tonight.
Milestone achieved.
And we get some extra research because we were the first ones to build a megadome. The other colonies that are up here got beaten because we're just so awesome. So I think as far as the... I wish you could put more than one spire building in these. I'm going to put a hanging gardens right in the middle of this just to kind of make this place a bit of a showpiece. So here comes the hanging gardens. So that'll be a place for people to relax and chill. And then I'm going to start building some apartment complexes so people have a place to live. Or should we make a fancy pants dome and like only have like the smart complex? Nah, it takes too much electronics. I don't want to do that. Take your apartment, suckers. Air's not springing for you to have proper housing. See, I'll build these apartments all around the hanging gardens. So that'll be really cool, right? Everybody can just leave their apartment and go straight to the big hanging gardens. So we got that. We're gonna need some other things here. I feel like we're gonna need a big park. Well, we have the hanging gardens. That'll serve as one big park. We might put more. Let's start getting the other services that we need. We're gonna need a police station because we know that we're gonna end up with renegades in the dome because this is Heir. And remember the time before last I played this game, we had someone go crazy and blow up our casino. And speaking of a casino, we gotta have a casino. And then we'll put an amusement park here as well, so we have a casino and an amusement park. Of course, we're going to need some doctors. We're going to need some diners, places for people to get some chow. We're going to need some shopping, so let's put in a grocery store. People will want luxurious things, so we'll put in an amphitheater so they can come do their ancient Greek plays and stuff. I'm going to put some nice fountains in here in between these buildings. Oh, okay, so our asteroid moved out of range. I thought a new one had come. Not yet. We'll keep an eye on it. We should be getting a new asteroid available soon. Alright, so we've got the building in process. It's going to take a lot of different work from our drones here to pull in enough. We're going to want an amphitheater where they play Troy. That's right. They get to come in here and kind of just cosplay it out. This particular dome is a little far out, and we need a ton of materials to move this way. And so we've got our little shuttles. You can see them flying around. It's going to take a while because they have to shuttle all this material over here. And with us soon going to have a whole bunch more colonists, we should probably build more shuttles. And in order to have more shuttles, we should probably build more fuel capacity. Only got 4 fuel refineries right now. Actually, we're still ahead on fuel. We're okay. Let's leave it be with fuel, because we're not burning a ton right now. Construction sites. We can afford... So it takes electronics to continue to use, or for our drones to run. Okay, so there is a new asteroid that's in view. It's a B-type asteroid. It says it has a high quantity of polymers. They usually contain exotic minerals and rare metals. It says this asteroid does not always contain water, so we're going to plan a visit. So here's the asteroid. If you want to go visit an asteroid, this is how we do it. So we come into this screen. It tells us that there will be some exotic minerals, and that's really all I'm after. I don't really care too much about the other stuff. So we're going to visit asteroid. We're going to pick our lander here, which is called Opportunity, and we're going to prepare. So the payload, I think I explained to you all earlier. So we have the payload all sorted out. I've got the base essentials here, except for I need my... what do you call it? The micro G extractor, auto extractor. So I put my auto extractor prefabs on here. So now we're set to go. So I'm going to click the request button, and what that means is if it's not already loaded... sorry, vehicles. RC vehicles. So we want an RC Explorer, and an RC Commander, and an RC Transport, all here. So I'm going to do that. Dementia, thanks for the 5. He says, if a habitation dome is patched together, could you see that every dome is a patchy factory? Now, Dementia makes a fine point. Every dome on Mars is, at least in my colony, is going to be patched together in the cheapest way possible, and ergo will be a patchy factory. So I think you make an excellent point. Excellent point indeed. All right, so we have an RC Explorer nearby. We have an RC Commander nearby. We need to get one of our RC, what do you call it, transports ready. I'm going to bring it back here. As far as the cargo goes, they're loading some more polymers. And there we go, we're ready to go. So we're headed to the asteroid. It's going to take a couple hours for it to fly there. Thanks for the support, Dementia. Appreciate the 5. You were too kind, sir. Says, Heir, how many others are you sending to Alderaan? Well, Nathan, there's a good chance we are sending people to their potential doom, I'm not going to lie. We have colonists getting ready to move into our new dome, so that's exciting. But there's no services there, so they might want to take it easy.
Anomaly found.
Alright, so here is the asteroid. Now, this is going to get a little bit tricky. The exotic minerals are down... Well, there's some just kind of on the ground right here. Oh, speaking of, let's pause it, because I'm sitting here talking and I'm wasting exploration time. Let us get our rocket landed near this exotic mineral deposit. Alright, so we're going to start landing. So we're headed down. There's a little bit of terrain here we're going to have to deal with. I'm going to need to make a ramp up here if possible, because I want to pick up these exotic minerals that are just sitting on the surface. If we can't, it's not a huge deal. There is some polymers down here. We need to get some depots set up so that our guys can unload stuff off the rocket. Alright, so I got some depots set. We're going to need an exotic mineral depot, because we just do. And then we're going to wait and... Well, actually, we're not going to wait. We're going to go ahead and start building some solar panels. I've got the game running a little slower right now so I can get things done. We're going to need a battery for these solar panels. Then we're going to need to put in our micro-G auto extractors, which are right here. And they have to be within range of that deposit. There we go. Alright, now our drones should be able to get the job done. No, you don't need stuff to build that. I brought the prefabs. Come on, for goodness sakes. I guess the rocket hadn't unloaded the prefabs yet. There we go. Alright. They were trying to use all my materials to build the stuff. These guys are refueling the rocket right now. My Explorer is exploring. Explorer gonna explore, imagine that. I'm gonna try and make a ramp up here.
Anomaly found.
I know, it says buildings aren't working. And it's because we don't have electricity. We have to wait till the daytime for our solar panels to start producing, and there should be enough electricity from these 6 solar panels to power the 2 extractors and to charge this battery that we have here. Sileria says, saw your post about hating puppies if we didn't join, so I'm doing my duty. That's right. I mean, at least Heir isn't one of those guys that would ever make you feel bad and try and coerce you into doing something. I hate those jerks who do that kind of stuff. Alright. Anomaly analyzed, so we got 30 rare metals. That's really cool, so we picked up some rare metal while we're up here. And you can see that I've got my RC transport set on auto pickup, so it's just going to go start picking up everything Fast radio burst says, Commander, we have observed a signal that seems to be repeating itself. The particular fast radio burst has not been recorded before and is much longer. I'm going to go ahead and fund the research to take a look at it. All right, so everything's going good on the asteroid. Our extractors are now running because it's daytime. They're going to start pulling the exotic minerals out of the asteroid. Our battery is charging and should have enough charge by the end of the day to keep these things running through the night. And our drones are working on this ramp, which means we can also get up here and go pick up those exotic minerals. We're getting a big load of polymers while we're up here, which I don't really need, but we'll also get a load of exotic or rare metals, which we can export back to Earth for some extra money for more funding. So this is definitely good stuff. So this is how you explore the asteroid. Again, you can build more things up here. You can send colonists up here. But if you look over here, you'll notice, or up here, it says that we only have 4 sols and 6 hours remaining, which basically means this asteroid is passing by Mars. And if you leave your people up there and it goes out of range, they of course die a horrible death, abandoned on an asteroid. So don't do that, people. Don't leave your colonists on an asteroid. It's just not nice. So yeah, don't be that person. So you got to keep an eye on it, and not even if you don't have people up there, if you leave your stuff up there, all of the things that you extracted from the ground and picked up also go out of range. So you have to get your rocket out of there before it's time to go, or else you're gonna find yourself in a big pile of doo-doo. It's not gonna be good. Okay? Just trust me. I'm gonna use robots to run all my diners and all the service buildings up here so that my people in this dome can work on more important things. So that's a technology I researched that lets me have robots run my service businesses except for the doctor's office. We only have a few colonists in this dome as of yet because they're gonna have to give birth to more colonists and eventually fill it up. The service bot upgrade there. Okay, so we're doing the bot upgrades so that our people will be able to have these buildings working. I built another shuttle hangar here. It says it needs electricity. It's connected to this other building. What are you talking about? Oh, are we just low on electricity? I think we are. Be low on electricity. I can fix that. I'm gonna build a couple more advanced Stirling generators here. That'll do the trick. We've got plenty of electronics, polymers, other stuff we need. These advanced Stirling generators can generate 80 electricity each. Let's go back to the asteroid and see how we're doing. Tuso, he says, can we have one FFA? Maybe tomorrow. We're gonna play some. We're gonna do some more of the winter stays types battles tomorrow, Tuso. So we might be able to do that. Let's go load that resource. So see, we're already getting exotic minerals. We've already got 22, and we've almost exhausted this asteroid of exotic minerals, which is good. That means we're gonna get them all, and we'll be able to leave with plenty of time to spare. So that's good news. Anyway, we've got our extra Stirling generators now, so I'm gonna open them up and really ramp up the power. And now our shuttle hub should be running, but it's not. I mean, is it not connected? It sure looks like it. I guess I built it 1 hex away from power, so I had to put a cable and connect it. I'm going to build some extra shuttles in it, so now I'll have 12 shuttles servicing my colony, which should be a lot. Alright, we got all the extra power we need. Excellent. Okay, so everything's powered up. We have more shuttles now delivering resources, and our people here, our colonists, now have places to shop, eat, do their plays, go to the casino, everything a colonist could want, okay? Alright, so let's go back up to the asteroid and get ready to wrap things up, and I'll show you all, once we're done ending the asteroid mission, then I'll pop back over and show you all how we work on the the beginning a colony, because some people wanted some tips on that. Alright, so we've extracted all the exotic minerals on this asteroid. We got 25 from the trip, which is not bad. I'm going to have to destroy these micro-G extractors, and that is going to obviously be a loss of money to me. There is technology that helps that not be the case later on. I don't have that tech yet, but I will get it. There's tech later on that lets you basically take all these buildings and pack them back down and take them back with you. But for now, I'm just going to salvage some of their resource value. So that's what I'm doing. We're going to load all that up. And then on the rocket, what we need to do is we have to set up the payload for the rocket. And if we can't fit everything, we have to make sure that we take all the right things. So we want to return home, and we definitely want all 25 exotic minerals on board. So let's go to edit payload. And I'm going to tell the rocket, okay, look, I want all of the 25 exotic minerals on board. That much I know for sure. The other thing I know I want on board is all my RC vehicles, right? So I'm going to go ahead and put all of them on board. So you can see it's using up my capacity here. Tiny says, HeirofCarthage, what do you call an alligator in a vest? In a vest? An investigator? I love it, Tiny. I love it. Keep it coming. So there we go. So I want my RCs on there as well. So I'm going to request this, and we're going to start loading the rocket. And then I'm going to say edit payload again, because look, we've got 66 polymers. But we also have 30 of these metals. So I really want to bring all the metal with me, if possible. So let's load up all the metal. And you have to be careful here, okay? There's only 25 exotic minerals. If I accidentally set this to 26, the rocket's just going to sit here like an idiot and never leave, because it's going to be like, oh, well, hold on, we're still waiting on that last one, but it's not there, right? So you have to set it exactly to what you want. No more, no less, okay? I want to take our polymers and machine parts home. These are valuable resources. I don't know if we can fit all these polymers, but we'll try. I think we can. Yes, we can. All right, so we've got all the polymers on board. And we want all of our drones on board, so we better make sure we make room for them. So we've got 10,000 more kilos of cargo space to take home with us. We could go ahead and load up the metal. And then the concrete. And so now I can request this payload. And when the rocket's ready, once all this stuff has been loaded, it will take off. Now this is another reason you got to be very careful. You see, with 2 souls left, you can see it's going to take some time for my drones to load up all this material. And if you start too late, you're going to lose all your stuff. You can bring more drones with you, but that obviously requires more payload space. So ultimately, when you really want to get into asteroid exploring, you need to buy yourself a second lander, and you can bring 2 landers at a time so that you can carry more drones and other stuff in one lander, and then the other lander is kind of like just your cargo carrier. You can also send the rocket back and forth while the asteroid is still in range, so you can make shuttle runs back and forth with one rocket. That's another possibility as well. So there we go. That's the asteroid exploring. You all can tell me what you think of it. Once you get these exotic minerals, you can then start building cool stuff underground. We'll do some more of that another time. I did say I was going to take some time here to help people get a better feel for how to start a colony, so I'd like to do that first. All right. They're just going to keep loading the rocket up. We got a lot of polymers coming on. I've only got 6 drones working here, so they're going to be pretty busy. I need to get my RC Explorer up here. RC Transport.
No active research.
Where's the other exotic?
Complete.
This is weird. It says we've only loaded 24 of 25 exotic minerals, but I don't see any other exotic minerals. So this is going to be one of those weird things that prevents my rocket from taking off. So I'm going to punch that down to 24 and request it, because otherwise my rocket will get stuck here. So it says 25 up here, but there's only 24. Don't understand it. I mean, maybe there's some... Oh, it's because it's sitting down here. That's where it is, and we never went and got it. No problemo. Alright, now see, we've loaded... It looks like we've loaded everything up, right? and my rocket's still sitting here. And if you were really close to your time running out, you might be like, oh crap, what's going on? I don't want to lose all my people. I'm going to set up some more research real quick. So we might be trying to think, well, why is my rocket not leaving? Sometimes it's little things, like if your Explorer is in automated mode, sometimes it doesn't want to pick up. So let's hit... Or actually, I just don't think we've told it to leave. We told it to pick up the payload, but we didn't tell it to leave. Okay, so that's the only thing we got to do. So now we have our payload picked up. We're going to hit this button right here, Return to Mars. And we've basically already picked up all our payload. This is everything I've already set it to, so we're just going to hit Request. And when we hit Request, our rocket is going to take off. There we go. So, a successful asteroid exploration. That's all there is to it, folks. Fairly straightforward. And when our lander comes back, it'll be available and we'll land it right here on this pad. And everybody will be returned. So we did it. What do y'all think of the asteroid exploration? The whole purpose of it is to get exotic minerals. Like I said, exotic minerals allow you to build things underground. The underground has some dangers to it, and it has some challenges. We got a genius colonist from this fast radio burst. That's awesome. Genius colonists produced extra research for you. The underground provides you... Like, the reason you want the exotic minerals is so you can build underground. The underground gives you access to a whole bunch more anomalies, which can help with research. It can provide new technologies. The people don't like working underground because it's dark and scary and, horrible. You can't use solar power underground. So there's a lot of challenges to being underground, but the upside is that there's a lot of cool materials. So see, like, here's a very good metal deposit right off the bat. And there's other stuff like that that's important. So that's why you go to the asteroid to get the minerals so that you can build the stuff underground so that you can further expand your colony underground. Anyway, I'm going to save it right here for now. Save game. And I'm going to call this one Bab 8. That's below and beyond 8. Now, some of you have been wanting to know how to get a colony started. So let's go back to the main menu. We'll step through some things. So if you just bought the game, and I need to make sure and timestamp this whenever this video uploads afterwards. If you just bought the game and you're looking for how to get started, I'm going to give you some advice on how to get started on the easy path. And the reason why I suggest you do this is because on the harder difficulty, this game is very hard. Even for someone like me who's played this game for a pretty good chunk of time, if I really ramp up the difficulty, I'm still going to lose a lot. And you can just straight up lose. Like, your colony can just be done. Everybody will die, you'll run out of money. You can totally lose. So that's a thing. And if you would like to just learn how to play the game, and you don't want to just be losing constantly, you can reduce your chance of losing when you set up the game. So if you come in here to new game, and there are tutorials, and you can play through the tutorial. So let's go back out here too. You can play through the tutorial. I suggest you do that, okay? Playing through the tutorial is a good thing. So go take the time to play through these, but for us, we'll go to this new game. So let's assume for a minute you've gotten to look at the tutorials, you've gotten a little bit of practice in, you're coming to play your first, free colony here that you're building. With your mission sponsor, if it's your first time playing, I suggest you either pick the International Mars mission, which is the easiest, or you pick the USA, which is the second easiest. International Mars mission is probably the best way to go when you're looking to have a nice solid start. Like, so if you don't want your challenge in the game to be your initial start, then you should always pick International Mars mission. If you want your initial start to be really hard, there's plenty of other, factions down here you can pick to make your start really difficult. Every faction kind of comes with its own challenges and benefits. But the International Mars mission is kind of just good at everything. And it's because it's meant to be easy, so you should pick it as a start. And then, as far as your commander profile, this is going to be a specialty that your mission commander uses. In fact, let's talk through the different mission sponsors real quick while we're here, because people are asking questions about it. You've got the USA, which is pretty straightforward. It's the US. Their advantage is they get a special rocket that carries extra payload. They have advanced orbital probes that scan 5 sectors at once instead of 1. And they have a special building called a mega mall, because you know if the US is going into space, we're taking our mega malls with us. And the mega mall is like a special building that they can build that provides like it satisfies almost every interest that people have, like gaming, exercise, social, food. Right? It's like a mall on Earth. And then every now and then, because it's the USA, we love to blow out our spending. Our government knows no limit to spending, and so Paradox kind of put a play on that in the game here, which is that periodically you just get extra money because someone got to spend that tax funds. And so, yeah, so that's the benefits of USA. You can see why they're easy, because you get a pretty good chunk of starting funds, you get a lot of applicants, you get decent research per soul to start with, and you get all these extra benefits. That's the US. Blue Sun Corporation is kind of like a fun... I don't know why they call it Blue Sun. I don't know if this is like a dig at Amazon or something else, but let's just imagine that it's obviously a big corporation. They get a lot of funding to start with, but they get less research than the US. And they get an RC harvester, which is pretty cool. It's a transport rover that can harvest concrete for you, so it helps you save having to build certain buildings early on in the game in order to get concrete. They get a corporate office, which is a building where people can go in and work, and it generates funding. You can buy applicants, so like if you don't like the people who are applying to you, just like a corporation on Earth, you can buy whatever you want. You know, if you have money, you can just buy people off. Additional rockets are significantly cheaper because you're a big corporation. Probes can discover deep metal deposits, and of course you start off with a bonus tech. Since you're a big corporation, you already know how to extract metals deep from under the surface. You got China here, and as far as China goes, they get decent starting funds. They have a lot of starting applicants, which is probably supposed to represent the large population in China. They get an RC generator, so this is a commander that can generate power as a solar panel, so it's kind of a specialist commander, which is really cool. That'd be great early in the game, or anytime you need to kind of set up a little mobile base. They get a Tai Chi garden, which is a small garden you can build, and visitors regain a small amount of health, and they may become more fit. So that's pretty cool that China gets like that building that is definitely unique. Their passenger rockets carry extra colonists, and then applicants are generated twice as fast. So again, a lot of this is focused around China's large population. India has some similarities. They have decent starting funds, but it's a little less. They get a lot of starting applicants, but not as much as China. They have an RC constructor, which is a transport rover that can help construct buildings. They get a metals refinery, which slowly converts waste rock into metal. Now that is a really cool thing because you're going to have a ton of waste rock. So this is pretty neat for India. Let's just keep looking through these, explain them all. When you pick Europe, you get good starting funds, a decent amount of applicants. You get a lot of research per soul, so Europe here is getting probably the most research that I've seen so far. They have an RC Seeker, which is a commander that works as a sensor tower when it's stationary. Now that's important because sensor towers help you scan new sectors and know what kind of resources are there. They have a Low G Lab, which is a research building that's built outside of domes and reduces the cost of the biotech and physics techs, so they basically get bonuses for science. They get to start with extra technologies, and they gain funding every time a tech is researched. So Europe is focused all around science and researching new tech. Space Y is the one that's kind of a place on SpaceX, and they get the Dragon rocket, which it says here has a smaller cargo capacity, but it's faster and uses less fuel. They have a solar array, which is basically a larger solar panel that doesn't have as much maintenance, which would be super handy. So that is definitely nice. And then you get extra drones at your hubs, and then you don't pay near as much for advanced resource cost. Brazil, they get pretty decent starting funds here at 9,000. Decent starting applicants, not a lot of research. They have a really good export price on the rare metals, so Brazil could make a lot of money by exporting rare metals. They get a huge cargo supply pod, so they can carry more cargo on supply pods, which is pretty handy because they cost some money. Rare metals refinery, it says, turns waste rock into rare metals. So again, Brazil ought to, like, if you look at that rare metal export price and the fact that they can turn waste rock into rare metals. I'm sure it doesn't do it at like a really high rate, but Brazil ought to be swimming in money if you set yourself up right here. It says colonists grant funding when they arrive on Mars, and passages cost no resources, which connects Dome basically, so you can build passages for free. Colonists don't have penalties when using passages to work other connected domes. I don't know what that has to do with Brazil. I guess Brazilians don't mind riding an escalator or something. And then you get extra supply pods. So Brazil it looks like it's all focused on extra supplies and being able to get the money pretty quick. We got the terraforming initiative, which is kind of like obviously it's focused on terraforming Mars. So all of their benefits are focused on making terraforming easier. So if you're coming up to Mars to get into terraforming, you can pick them. You got the Church of the Newark, which is kind of a quirky one you can pick here. The Church of the Newark represents obviously a religion that you're sending up to Mars. They have no research, so science is going to be very challenging for them. And no research is really tough when you come up. You don't have much funds. You do get a decent number of starting applicants because I guess you've been proselyting to everybody back on Earth. But it's a very hard start. You have an arc pod, and it's a supply pod that can carry passengers. You have a special spire called the Temple Spire. It says it satisfies social interest and restores sanity. So it's like a big church you can put in there that helps people. Every colonist you get has the religious trait, and religious basically makes it where people won't commit suicide when they get all freaked out, which is actually pretty handy, because when people get freaked out from asteroid storms and leaky domes and stuff like that, having them not commit suicide is great. The birth rate is doubled, so that's always helpful too if you're looking to fill up your colony fast. And then hydroponic farm performance is reduced, which is a drawback, obviously. So Church of the Newark, you are going to be really hurting for food and research, but you're going to be able to have a lot of colonists and get colonists up pretty easily. So it's going to be a very difficult faction to play. Russia is also a hard faction to play. They don't get a ton of starting funds. Limited research per soul, but not terrible. Their metal export price is pretty bad. They have a driller that can extract resources from underground deposits, but waste some of it. So that's definitely still a bonus, though, because normally it takes a lot of tech and time to build a building to extract resources. So even though this driller wastes some of the resources, it's really a pretty sweet thing to have early on for Russia. They have a concrete plant, which is basically an automatic concrete extractor. So it just uses fuel. And they get some extra bonus techs, and certain upgrades are free. Their rockets have longer travel time, which is kind of weird. I don't know why Russia got hit with rockets with a longer travel time, because historically speaking, Russia is actually extremely good at rocket building. So I'm not exactly sure why that got stuck in there, but it makes it more difficult with them. Paradox Interactive is another one you can play. Basically, they have a special shuttle and a game developer building where you can earn money by developing games and then selling the games back on Earth. They're actually pretty fun to play. I played one, and then Japan has special drones that fly around called the Wasp drone, and they get automatic metals extractors. They don't require a workforce. They're all automated. So pretty cool stuff anyway. That's all the factions. Hopefully that gave you all a bit of a rundown here. And I'm going to go ahead and show you all how to get a mission started. So we're going to pick the International Mars mission. The commander profile is up to you. Some of them make it easier. Some of them make it harder. If you come here and look, so they think that the futurist makes it the easiest because you get to research breakthrough techs faster, and you get autonomous sensor towers, which means that you don't have to have any electricity or maintenance of your sensor towers. They think that one's pretty good, and it is pretty good. Hydro engineer, all your domes use less water, and you start with a water reclamation spire tech. It's okay. There's a whole bunch of different ones. You basically pick whichever one sounds the most fun to you. If you can't pick one, just pick random. If it's your first time playing, I would suggest rocket scientist, actually. And the reason I say this is because it opens up CO2 jet propulsion, and that unlocks the shuttle hub. And the shuttle hub is a building that will make your life much, much easier on Mars. So I like rocket scientist for start. You can just pick your logo. This doesn't have any impact on the game. I mean, if you don't like Brussels sprouts, you can pick that. You can pick whatever you want. Space communism, Mr. Handy, or should we say Mr. Handsy. So listen, robot, don't be we're watching you. Okay, we got our eyes on. How about let's go with Mars U here. You can pick how many rival colonies you want to play against, or none at all. So I'm just going to leave 3 random ones. I like having rival colonies. I think it's fun. Game rules. Now, there's a whole bunch of stuff in here. I don't have time to cover it all, okay? This is just preferences, basically. You can come in and set your preferences for the campaign. If you really suck, and you haven't played the game before, and you really need some help, you can click this one right here, which is Universal Depot. It turns off all your achievements, but basically the first depot you build will automatically fill up with resources every day. And it basically makes it to where you can't fail. So this is kind of like a safety net if you feel like you need it. But anyway, a lot of settings on here. Some things make things harder, some things make it easier. You take a look at it, you decide what you want, okay? So I'm going to leave that alone. I'm not going to pick any special rules. We can rename our colony to, right now it's called Our Colony. So we're going to name it Definitely Won't Die. Alright, so there we go. Now we get to pick what goes on our rocket, our first rocket up. If you're new, don't worry about changing any of this. Just leave it the way it is. It comes with a pretty good preloaded rocket, and like I said, I just leave it alone and shoot your first rocket up. Once you've gone through, oh, and you can name your rocket too. So let's name our rocket. This one's called Friendship 1. We'll call this rocket about Rocket Mick Rocket Face. There we go. So Rocket Mick Rocket Face. Make sure you give your rocket a good name, an appropriate name, okay? Now we're ready to go pick a landing spot on Mars. So picking a landing spot is a pretty important part for your colony. Some landing spots are going to be considerably more challenging. Some are going to be much easier. Your difficulty challenge is up here on the top right, or sorry, left. When you pick one, you can see whether it's going to make things more difficult, and you can see what this landing site has to offer. Really good concrete, really good water, kind of so-so on metals, and you're not going to really get cold waves or dust storms very much, but you could be seeing a lot of dust devils and meteors. So you can pick your landing spot. You can pick any of these pre-chosen ones, or you can just click some spot on the planet. So like this one, it says the topography, and you can see it just racked the difficulty up way high. It's steep terrain. You're going to be getting clobbered by dust storms, meteors, and while you're freezing. So, you know, you can see the challenges that are going to come from it. So when you pick your first colony site, I'll show you the ones that I recommend for starters. Where was it? This one right here is pretty great for starters. It's rough terrain, Marineris Alpha, but you don't get hit by hardly any dust devils, storms, meteors, or cold waves. So it's a great starter colony. This one's not bad here either at Aeonia Alpha, however you say it. Serenium Alpha. Again, these aren't bad. Dust devils are pretty manageable, but either one of these is okay for starters. You can see they're relatively easy. Let's go with this one right here because it looks like the easiest. So you hit start. All right, Bones, anybody else who needed these tips? If you have any questions, like if you're here in the chat and you have questions, hit me up with the questions in the chat. Okay?
Welcome to Mars.
In fact, the chat hasn't moved in a while. If you all can still hear me, put something in the chat. I want to see if my chat's broken. All right, so it gives you a little welcome mission. You can read through that if you want. Just reminds you, you need to pick a landing site to start with. You can start wherever first of all, you should probably pause the game. All right, Warner says chat's broken. All right, Just Phil, thanks for joining us tonight. You've missed so much, but keen to watch. Bones had a question. Let me see if I can go back up and find it. Asteroids seem neat. Is terraforming a DLC? I don't see it. So good question. The terraforming is a DLC, and then the below and beyond stuff that I was just showing you all is also a DLC. So the asteroids and underground are part of one DLC, and the terraforming is part of another. What I would suggest is just play the game without the DLC. You don't need it. You can just play the game without that stuff, build your colony, and then if you really enjoy the game and you had a good time with it and you do want something new to do, you could just pick one of the 2 DLC whenever you have money. That's what I would do. And then you can add it to the colony you've already built or build a new one. It's up to you at that point. We have some orbital probes. So when you first come to Mars, you should use your orbital probes. You really want to have a good handle on where there's some water and some good places to build. See, the terrain here is pretty rough in the square that they've uncovered for us. There's some flat squares all around us, and we have 4 probes, so you might want to kind of plan it. See, here's a flat one, flat, mostly flat, mostly flat. So I'm probably going to explore these 4 with my probes. So I'm going to click on the probe. I'm going to explore here, here, here. Great luck. There's no water. So I did not spot any water. Just not ideal. However, just because you don't spot water initially doesn't mean you should give up on that as a landing site, right? You can go ahead and land, but it just means we're going to have to find a secure source of water before we bring colonists up here. So if you can find water, that's always a plus, but again, it's not 100% necessary. Now, there are some benefits. See this little beaker here? If you build a dome and start doing research in it, that dome will get a 15% boost to research for being built near this. So that's actually pretty sweet. And there's plenty of concrete here. I can see some metals on the ground here, so that's really good. So we're going to get an early boost to metals. Right off the bat, there's some more metals on the ground. So yeah, there's a bunch of metal here, so that's really beneficial. This landing spot will be just fine. So you call your rocket down, pick a spot. I'm going to land it near the concrete deposit there. We also have a rare metals deposit available to us early, so I'm actually going to land my rocket right here. And then eventually I want to build my dome where it can try and take advantage of both of these things here. Then you'll want to hit play. When you first start the game, you'll probably want to just play on normal or fast. I usually play it on fastest, but anyway, like I said, if you're new and you're trying to learn this game and you have questions while I'm giving you these tips, just let me know. You'll want to build a universal depot right off the bat so that your drones can unload all the stuff off the rocket. It usually doesn't hurt to have a couple of these. When your RC vehicles get off the rocket, you should immediately take your RC transport, if you have one, and start gathering up metals from nearby. Your RC commander can kind of just stay put for now. So we want our depots. We have those. We'll want to build some electricity production. We have an advanced Stirling generator that we got. I'm going to put it right here next to our depots. That Stirling generator will build automatically with no resources required because it was a prefab that we got. So we're going to build that. The next thing we're going to want is a drone hub, and we have a prefab for it as well. And I'm going to stick it, I'm going to connect it. You can see the hexes are touching. This means I don't have to build any wires, and the electricity will just kind of connect between these 2 buildings. Now our drone hub is up and running. So the drone hub, you can see it has a very large service area here. So our drones can go anywhere inside of that service area. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to build a concrete extractor because we need concrete to build a lot of stuff up here. We don't have a prefab, but we can build one. All we need is a couple machine parts and some metal, and we happen to have enough. And our concrete extractor has to overlap a concrete deposit, and that's what those little triangles there are. And I'm going to go ahead and touch it right up against my drone hub here. See, my drones are going to carry the materials over there, and they're going to go ahead and start building. See, we're out here picking up metals. Our drones are picking up metals. You'll want to gather up all the resources that you can get your hands on early on. There should be a lot of metal on the ground. Go gather up that metal. It's good for solar panels. It's good for wires, pipes, all that kind of stuff. All right, so now we have a concrete extractor. 2 things we need to do once you build an extractor like this. Make a dumping site. And no, I don't mean for whenever you get Martian diarrhea. So we're going to put a dumping site right over here. There's going to be waste rock as part of the extraction process, and you need a place to put it, or else it'll just pile up and block everything. So build your dumping site. Once you have a dumping site, go to this depot and build a concrete depot. In fact, you'll probably want to build a couple because eventually these will fill up. Now this is a depot where only concrete can be stored, and it can hold up to 180 concrete, okay? So now we've got a good place to store all our concrete, and we're going to start producing. Now that we have access to concrete, we've got some basic power, we've got concrete, we're going to need to start taking care of a few other things. Let's take our RC Explorer and start exploring any anomalies. Anomalies are these little yellow and blue circles, and you can click your RC Explorer, right-click the anomaly, it'll go start scanning it. So that we've got done. Once your RC transport is full of metal, you'll need to give it an order to come back and drop that metal. I'm going to put it over here. Then we'll send it back out for another load. So, some other basic resources we're going to need. Fuel, water. To make fuel, we need water. We get a prefab moisture vaporator here. The moisture vaporator is the building that helps extract moisture from the Martian atmosphere. And then we can use said moisture for water. So I'm going to build the moisture vaporator probably right here. You can just pick all this stuff on your own. I'm going to have to build cables to connect its electricity. And then in order for the moisture vaporator to do anything, we'll have to connect it to a building. I'm going to put a water tower here as well, right next to it. And that way we can store some water. So I'm going to build the water tower. It just takes metal. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to connect the moisture vaporator to the water tower with pipes. Alright, so we researched the anomaly. We need to select some research. These are all the researches that are available to us at the moment. I suggest if you do have the DLCs, don't spend any money on recon and expansion or terraforming early in the game. They are not necessary. And you want to look at these techs to see which one will benefit you the most. One tech that you want to get as quick as you can is called decommissioning. It allows you to tear down buildings. We got to start with a tech here, which is farms, which is really good because then we can build a good farm in our very first dome. Basically, the tech that we have available to us here at the first helps our drone hubs, helps extractors, helps geologists. Basically, all these techs are terrible for the most part. I'm going to go ahead and start with this one to help our Moxie, which is a building that creates oxygen. And then I'm just going to go ahead and start researching these techs. You have to research them in order to open up new ones. So I don't like them. I don't think they're very good techs. When we're playing as the International Mars mission, you should go ahead and do an outsourcing here, which means that I'm going to pay money to get extra research over the next 5 souls. That'll help us clear out some of these early techs, and you can do that because we have quite a lot of funding to start with. If you don't start with much funding, I do not recommend this. That would be a bad move. This is the other side of the sun. While sifting through the red dust, our drones discover the remains of an old concrete bunker. The treasure inside is a folder of old documents. The ink got almost completely vanished, but with the extra effort and creativity, you managed to press through. In the distant 1973, an isolated country made a secret landing on Mars in preparation for further colonization. Now, how did someone land on Mars in 73? I'd love to see that. Led personally by the great leader, their tireless engineers created many wonders of architecture and creativity. This deed was made possible only by the eternal wisdom and guidance of the great leader. So we can thank the glorious leader and get a bunch of recharge stations and reveal techs in the robotics trees. We can thank the glorious leader again and get 4 water towers and oxygen tanks and get engineering techs. Or we can thank the glorious leader and build a bunch of pointless statues and get techs from the social tree. I'm going to take this one. I'm going to thank him and get the oxygen tanks, water tanks, and the engineering tech. So we get a lot of ways to thank the glorious leader, and indeed, he was glorious. I don't know who he is or what he was doing, but he was utterly glorious, okay? In case anybody was wondering. Don't question the leader. Alright, so we're filling up our water tank. Next steps, okay? So we got concrete coming in, we're picking up metals off the ground. If we want to have colonists, we really just need a couple of things. We need some oxygen. That comes from a building called a Moxie, which only takes the Moxie only takes metals to build, so it's pretty easy. I'm going to build the Moxie right next to my moisture vaporator because it also needs the electricity in the pipes. And then we're going to build an oxygen storage tank, especially since we have the prefabs now, thanks to the glorious leader. So now we'll be storing water and oxygen. Alright, so we got oxygen, we've got a little bit of water, but we're going to need more water than this in order to support our colonists. The problem is we don't know what's around us, and we need to start searching. So we need to build a sensor tower. So we're going to go ahead and build a sensor tower right here, because it needs to be powered. And when we build the sensor tower, we can start selecting different areas to scan. I would like to have water close, and here would be good. It'd be good if I had water here, but I would also take it here, 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 you know, anywhere around us. So I'm going to start fanning out and in the search for water.
We've just found Beagle 2. Or at least what's left of it.
Alright, so we found an old lander. This is going to reduce the cost of robotics. Okay, great. You say so. Alright, so now we're scanning sectors. And it shouldn't take us too terribly long to scan each of these sectors. You can see the progress there kind of ticking up as we go. I would feel better having more water, but if we need to, we can always bring more moisture vaporators up from the surface. Speaking of, let's go ahead and start getting a couple things ready. We need to build it, now that we have some water and some power, we need to build a fuel refinery so that we can refuel our rockets. We don't have any tech to build the fuel refinery, so we can't technically build it, but we can buy one. So I can come here, I can either send a cargo rocket up with stuff, or I can buy a supply pod. A supply pod costs me some money, carries a lot less than a rocket, so I suggest we just send a cargo rocket. Let's go ahead and get a bunch of the stuff that we need. Let's go to prefab buildings. And we could probably use more advanced Stirling generators because we're eventually going to run out of electricity at the one we have. We definitely could use more moisture vaporators because we're going to need plenty of water. And then I need a couple of fuel refineries to fuel up my rockets. And let's see if there's anything else here that we're going to need early. Not really. That should do. I'll probably grab one more drone hub for when we need it eventually. Go back in here. Colonists are going to need supplies. We could go ahead and bring up a little bit of food. And let's bring up some more advanced resources because we're not going to be able to get our own for a long time. So I'm going to get 20 machine parts, 20 polymers, and I'm going to bring up 20 electronics too. Just to have us, we want to use up as much of our rocket as we can. I'll go ahead and bring up some extra food to fill up the rest of the payload capacity. Let's go ahead and launch this rocket our way. We have plenty of funds. We should build a landing pad for the rocket to land on. It's always good to have a landing pad because if you don't, the wash when the rocket takes off can damage buildings and drones around it. So you definitely want to build the launch pad. It only takes concrete, and concrete is one of the few things that we have. There we go. We're getting started. Hopefully this is helpful. The glorious leader is Heir, who went back in time, most likely. Let's go ahead and fast forward, because really not much we can do at the moment. We're just kind of waiting on our fuel refinery to get up here, but this is the beginnings of a colony here. Got our landing pad. This rocket obviously isn't really getting much fuel, so it can't refuel. Another thing I suggest you do on your rockets is turn on, or like forbid exports. That way if you do get some rare metals, they're not just going to immediately get loaded on your rocket and sent back home. Corey says, is there any strategy for placing buildings or just anywhere they have power? So, good question, Corey. Let me explain a few things real quick. Some buildings create a lot of dust, like this concrete extractor. And so that is represented by this kind of white hex going around the edge of it. So anything that's inside the dust ring of this concrete extractor is going to get... it's going to require extra maintenance. So I probably should not have grouped all my buildings within the dust range of this concrete extractor. Now, it'll be okay. I'm playing a faction that has plenty of money. I'll be able to get a hold of resources, but if you're playing a really hardcore faction, you need to be careful of stuff like this because this is going to eat up resources, okay? And so that's one thing. When buildings are touching each other, you don't have to build cables to connect the electricity grid. So when you do scoot them further apart, you have to use metal to build cables and be able to make your grid, essentially. Speaking of metal, we need a metal depot because my rovers out here picking up extra metal. So let's bring our metal back over here to this depot. Alright, I'm going to hit play, so it'll go slow. And I can keep talking through this. But yeah, place your buildings, keeping in mind some of that stuff, like you don't want all the dust to build up if you can avoid it. But otherwise, it's basically place the buildings where you want. With buildings like water towers and oxygen tanks, it's really good to put these buildings very close to your dome. And the reason I say that is because let's say you have a meteor storm and it makes a hole in your pipes a ways off from your dome, but your storage tanks are like right next to your dome. They can continue to supply your dome with water and oxygen while the rest of your system is being repaired. So some buildings need to be close to certain things, Corey. Others, it doesn't really matter, and you just kind of do it by looks. But like, for instance, if I had a bunch of solar panels and I stuck them really close to my concrete extractor, they're going to get covered in dust and they're going to require maintenance more often. So just, that's all you need to remember, Corey, is part of it is how you want it to look. Part of it depends on the function and ups and downs of the building. Alright, so we've got a good amount of oxygen stored. We're storing up some water. And our resupply rocket is almost here. You can see it's at 62%. So Japan completed a milestone before us. Let's go see what they did. Japan found water before we did. So we got beaten to the punch by Japan. We still didn't find water with our new scan over here. Okay. So colony's going good, just waiting on a rocket. This is why I suggest you play the International Mars mission first. It's so much easier to get started when you can just call in some extra resources from Earth. Okay? If you play one of the other factions where you have very little money, you just have to be extremely smart about what resources you call in and how much money you spend doing it, because if you run out, you're screwed. So that's the challenge of starting with one of the other factions, is that you have to be very, very good about knowing what to bring, when to bring it, and the exact right amount. So those factions are best to wait until later. Alright, so we're going to land our resupply rocket here. When that rocket lands, we'll get access to the fuel refineries that we needed.
Sector scanned.
Okay, so the rocket is here. We're going to go ahead and build our fuel refineries. Fuel refineries need to be built on a water line, and they need electricity. But this won't be too far out of the way, so I'm just going to build my fuel refineries right here. It's good enough. And I need to connect a water pipe to them, so I'll go up here. And I'll connect these two. And then we need to connect electricity to them, so I'm going to build... quickest way will just be to come from my concrete extractor like that. Alright. So now we've connected electricity, we've connected water to our refineries. We're going to want a fuel depot. A good place to put a fuel depot, obviously, is right next to your landing pad, so that it'll be easier for your drones to refuel your rocket. The fuel will be waiting right here. You can see my drones are unloading the cargo of the rocket, which was some food and advanced resources. Now we're producing fuel. So you can see we're going to be producing 24 fuel per day. It takes 50 fuel to get a rocket off the ground, as of current. So now we have fuel, which is good. Now we can keep rockets ferrying back and forth to Earth. So definitely a good thing for us. I'm going to deprioritize this rocket by clicking these, so that they spend their time and effort refueling this rocket first. Right. We still did not find water, but we did find some new anomalies. Let's send our rover. Go start scanning these anomalies. Alright, now the next steps for getting a colony, we're going to need a little bit more water, and that's why I got more of these moisture vaporators. You see the ring around the moisture vaporator? You need to keep them far enough apart from each other to be effective. So here I'm going to put a moisture vaporator. See, it overlaps right there. It's not ideal, so I'm going to back it up just a little bit right there. And I'll run some pipes out to it. And then we just need to put some electricity there. Alright, so our moisture vapor is going to be running. We may... Yeah, we're going to be running pretty low on power. Let's drop our other advanced Stirling generator. I'm just going to plop it right next to the other one.
Complete.
So now we should have plenty of power for the time being. We've got 2 moisture vaporators running, so that's enough water. We have oxygen, so now we have water, oxygen, and electricity. So we're really ready to get a dome ready for our colonist. And so we're going to go over here to our domes. They gave us a self-sufficient dome prefab, which comes with basically everything you need to get a dome up and running. And I actually screwed up. I really need to build my dome right here, and I got all my buildings in the way. So that is a big whoops for me. That was stupid. My dome really needs to be right here. Yikes. Because then I could have taken advantage. So there is a way for me to fix it. This terrain is really the only thing blocking me from still being able to have a place to build that dome. So I'm gonna hit the B button to go into the buildings, and I'm gonna take this option in here. I'm gonna say flatten, and I'm gonna give an order to flatten out all this terrain over here. And my drones are gonna come over. They're gonna pull all the extra rock and stuff, and they're gonna go put it over here, and we're gonna flatten this down so I can build the dome where it can take advantage of both this research boost and the rare underground metals. Alright, so let's go pick up some more metal while we're at it. There's some right here. I'd go for Hellstorm rocket batteries. They're building rockets, so one can hope. That's right, Hellstorm rocket batteries are great here. They come in very handy on Mars. Okay, so things are looking good. Okay, this rocket is actually ready to return to Earth. I'm gonna go ahead and take off.
Research complete.
See, without a launch pad, see, the blast from that rocket disabled some of our drones. They're gonna have to be repaired. So that's why we want to build a launch pad. I'm gonna go ahead and build a second one here too, or a landing pad, so that when we have a second rocket come up, we've got a couple of places to land. So there we go. What I'll do on this little intro is I'll kind of take you through getting your first colonists up onto Mars, and then I'll call it good for tonight. And if you all ever need me to make another one, I can make another video on how to take it a little bit further. But this will focus on getting your colonist up here. We got spare water for him. This is great. We really need more water still, because our fuel refineries are using all the water we're producing. This is unfortunate that we haven't found a water deposit yet, because moisture vaporators are rather limited in their production capability. There's going to be one that comes with the dome, though, so it should be okay. We're almost done. We're about 50 some odd % through clearing out our dome area over here, so we're just gonna anything run by air, count me out. Oh, come on, Brandon. Where's the vote of confidence? Who wouldn't feel confident going on a Mars mission led by me? What could possibly go wrong? Like I said, you'd be eating salty soybeans and nothing but leaky domes, exploding rockets.
Research complete.
It'd be fantastic. Now, Fuzzy Wuzzy brings up an excellent point here. He says, why build a launch pad when Scrooge McDuck can just send him to you? That's a fair point. You just need to get Scrooge to call him in. Bones says Brandon hates puppies, confirmed. That's right, he may not have seen the tweet, but even if he didn't see it. Alright, so we've almost cleared this spot out, and we can go ahead and start building our dome. See, we had to remove a lot of waste rock. So we've almost filled up a dumping site, which means we need to make another dumping site. We'll make another large dumping site up here on the other side of my concrete extractor. Alright, so here we go. Should be done. Done. Make it done. There we go. So we've flattened this up quite a bit. I don't know if it's flat enough to put a dome in here. We'll see. May have to do another flattening. Self-sufficient dome. Yeah. No, we can build it right here. Just barely. So we're going to get the research site. And we're going to get stuff. Let's build it right here. Should be fine. Alright, so we're going to start building our dome. We're going to need to connect it to our life support grid, so like electricity and water. So we're going to run some electrical lines up to the fuel refinery, which is the closest gambit there. And then we're going to build some piping. And we'll connect that pipe right to here. And now our dome should be connected to the life support grid. And voila!
Research complete.
We have our first dome.
Milestone achieved.
So we constructed the first dome on Mars, even though some other people beat us to it. So, now that we have a dome, in order to bring colonists up, the colonists need a place to live. So the first thing you should build in your dome is a... I like building this living complex. It can hold 12 colonists, so build that. Next, every colony should definitely have an infirmary. Because if people get sick, you don't want them to die, they need health, so then build an infirmary. Next, your colony always needs food, and they also like to socialize, so if you build a diner, they get both. I like building the diner instead of the grocery store because they get the socializing. However, there are other options. You could build the grocery store, for instance. So if I build the grocery store, they get shopping, which people do like to have. And they get their food. So let's build the grocery store, and I'll show you the option here. You're also going to want to build a place for your people to exercise. The gym gives them exercise and social, and so do parks. And we're not going to be able to fill up our dome right off the bat anyway. And we're going to want food production to be kind of a priority. Or you want research to be a priority. Since I have a lot of money early on in this, we'll do food production first, and then as soon as I can bring up another rocket load of people, we'll make that rocket scientist so we can start doing some research. So I'll go ahead and build a farm in the dome, and we'll bring some botanists with us. That way we can start producing food, and we'll be self-sufficient. I'm going to go ahead and put a park in here. We don't really need it at the moment, but I'll put it here just because we can. So we have food, we have shopping, we've got a place for people to exercise and have social interactions. That's the basic necessities. You can put other things in here if you want, but this will do. So now all that's going to start building. So another thing I suggest is that when you do build a dome, I suggest you put a drone hub close to it so that your drones can service it quickly and efficiently. And when you build that drone hub, make sure to throw down a universal depot right next to it, so again that the supplies that the drones need be very close at hand. And then since we're going to be producing food in this dome, I think it's a good idea to also have a food depot in case we end up with enough food. So there we go. So now our dome is going to be ready to take on people, and once you're ready to support the people, this stuff hasn't finished building yet, but it'll be finished by the time people get here. So what we're going to do is come back here and pick a passenger rocket. And we get to pick the first 12 people to come to Mars. These are going to be our founders that come to Mars. You need to pick wisely. Now remember, we built a farm, so we're going to want some botanists. And when you pick people, you need to look at the traits here that they come with. And you want to pick people with the best traits possible. If you go to the filter, and then you go to quirks, if there's gurus, you really want to bring them. So we're going to click the thumbs up because it'll, list them up in here. Gurus are really cool. They can spread traits to other colonists. They basically help other people be better. So we're going to apply that. Let's go back into our filters, and we're going to look at perks. And celebrities make us money when they're at high comfort, so that's pretty great. And then we also want to look for any geniuses. which we don't have any geniuses available to us at the moment. Another trait that is really helpful, in my opinion, is sexy. Because when you're starting your colony, the people who have the sexy trait basically have a higher birth rate because they're so busy attracting everybody. You should pick that one, and when possible... Oh, sorry, one other thing too. Let's go under our filter and let's go to age group. We don't want any middle-aged or any seniors coming on the first trip, nor children, right? So we want all youth and adults. The longer your founders can live, the better. If they're all youth, then that's totally great too. So we're going to apply this. We want to find a good mix of male and female so that you can have births, and you want to hopefully have some sexy traits in there if you can help it, okay? So we need some botanist. Let's go find some botanist here and see what we get. A religious loner from India. Not bad, we'll take it if we need to. A composed female. Got composed gambler nerd. France. And you can look at these traits and pick. Alcoholic's a little bit risky early in the game. Glutton's a little risky because they're eating double rations. They just got to be careful of some of these. We got a glutton vegan hippie. That is quite the combination here for Sigrid Larson. A gluttonous vegan. Regina says in Heir's future, only good looking young people are allowed to colonize. Hey, Regina, I'm just keeping up with those movies like Elysium and stuff, right? How about a hypochondriac fit hippie? Hypochondriacs are rough. You usually don't want hypochondriacs in your first load of people going up. You also are going to want a couple of medics, so let's find the best medics that we can get. A hypochondriac medic. That's fantastic. That's exactly what you want. A loner medic wouldn't be the end of the world. Let's see if we have any medics that don't have a lot of down. Okay, we have a sexy enthusiast medic here. So Ping Li, we're going to bring him up. So he's going to be our first medic. Now we need another medic. And there's probably some lady medics that would love working with the our sexy enthusiastic medic here. And Paranaz, I'm probably saying that wrong. She looks good here. She's a survivor. So we've got our 2 medics. We only need 2 to start with. We're going to need some people who don't have a specialization to work jobs. I mean, you could do that. I'm actually going to go ahead and bring some scientists and stuff, even though we don't have a building for them. And eventually, when we start having babies, we can start to bring people with no specializations up. But for now, let's focus on people who are specialized so we can try and put them to work. So let's start finding our botanist. Let's start searching through here for acceptable botanist. We got Luna Carlson here as a hypochondriac hippie. I don't want the hypochondriac. I can tolerate the other stuff. Hypochondriacs are just going to keep our medic station busy all the time, and we don't really want that. So an alcoholic doctor. Is that like Bones from Star Trek? Let's see. Sigrid is the gluttonous vegan hippie. The hippie is good though because they gain a lot of extra comfort in the gardens and parks that we have. So I'm going to put up with her gluttonous ways and I'm going to bring Sigrid. And we're going to try and find a botanist who's not an alcoholic, hopefully. A composed gambling nerd. That'll work. Alright, so we got 3 females and a male. We need probably some more males if we can afford it. But Pamela's looking like a good botanist option here too, so I'm going to bring her. But Ping is the sexy male, and so far he's got 4 ladies he's going up there with, so he's going to be the James Bond of Mars here. Let's see. Let's get some scientists too. Survivor and enthusiast is really good. Gambler's not great, but we do need another male here, so let's grab Liam. Keep going here. There's scientist, another botanist. A rugged, composed nerd. Sounds good. We got enough botanists. That'll be enough to run our farm to begin with, you know, at a decent pace. Let's get some more scientists so that when we do get a chance to open up a research station, we'll have enough. What do y'all think of the crew so far? Yes or no in chat. Would you make the trip to Mars with Heir? Or is that obviously just way too risky? Be a lot of girls on this flight. We need some more boys. Only got a few scientists. Let's see if we can find some, like, no specialization, but we need some boys to come up here. Male youth enthusiast, that'll work. No specialization. Alcoholic enthusiast, what? The hippie is good, it's a female. I'd rather have a boy at this point, though. We got a party animal gambler. That'll work. We need one more. A fit nerd. A workaholic, man. Workaholic is really good. I'm gonna take workaholic. Okay, alright, so we're gonna launch our rocket. So here's our crew. Corey says, how much are you paying me? 0. I'll pay you in salt pennies. It's the official currency of nowhere. Space and deep sea, 2 places I don't ever want to visit. You know, that's not a bad plan overall, Warner. Not a bad plan. If you prefer living, there's certainly a way to minimize your chances of not living. Alright, our rocket's on the way. This rocket is refueled, which means that we've got a nice fuel production going now. Starting to get some leftover fuel on our storage pads here. Let's go. Our rover has filled up with metal here and can hold some more. We need to keep searching these anomalies. Still haven't found water? Good heavens. Search for water continues, folks.
Sector scanned.
What a wreck. Usually I find water much easier than this. Alright, so our colonists are on the way. When the colonists first arrive, I'm trying to set up the dome to where they'll have really good comfort, because you have to wait for 10 souls before you can bring more colonists. Basically, you have to prove that you can keep these colonists alive. If the colonists have a baby, then it ends the founding period and you can immediately start bringing more people from Earth. Okay? But to have a baby, they have to feel pretty confident and happy and comfortable,
Research
right?
complete.
I mean, if you're up in space worried that you're going to die from the next micrometeorite that comes through the window, you're probably not going to be one of having kids. So, anyway, you got to convince them to have kids. What's going on, CJ Matt? Thanks for joining us tonight. Alright, so our colonists are almost here. And this is how you get a colony started. So hopefully this was useful to you all. I'll go ahead and let them come, and I'll kind of show you what the founder period looks like for a little bit here in the last 10 minutes or so of the stream. Yeah, someone's saying careful with the fuel so close to the dome. If a meteor hits it, it can explode. That is correct. I think we're out of range from any explosion that would happen here. But yes, you're correct, Chris. You don't want to store fuel very close to other things that you don't want to explode. In fact, one thing I like to do is I like to take the fuel off of these universal depots so that if they do get hit, if they do get hit by a meteor, they won't have any fuel on them to explode. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and pull the fuel off of these two and let it be stored over here separate of them, where if it explodes, it'll be a little safer. So thanks for the reminder, Chris. Excellent reminder. Our people are here, so we're going to land the rocket. It needs to land close enough to the dome that they can walk over to it without running out of air and suffocating. So bear that in mind. Take a look at our research and see what we've opened up next. So rockets requiring less fuel would certainly be nice. Improved wind turbines is good. Being able to build apartments is really good. And then the drone hubs is also useful. So there's some good tech popping up here. We need to... This advanced Martian engines. I think the low G turbines, I'm not real worried about it, but we need to go ahead and research it. This is extra funding. You might as well do it and just take the extra funding. The apartments I'll go ahead and stick on here too. I'm going to go ahead and outsource some more research because we have enough funding for it and we can. Don't forget your research.
Milestone achieved.
All right, a new beginning.
Full of hope and
So
determination.
here we go. We're going to be in the
first
founder
founders
stage.
Have set foot on the red planet.
So our people
New
are here,
colonists have arrived.
and we've got everything up and running. Got the farm working, so everybody's got a job. Everybody has something to do. Let's take our farm. I shouldn't have picked wheat. I'm going to pick soybeans because it improves the soil quality and gives us a pretty good yield of food. So our farm is working. We should be producing food within a few souls. We've got a park for people to hang out. We've got a gym for people to work out in. We've got a grocery store. People can socialize at the gym and the park. Should be good, right? So people should be able to serve the basic interests that they need to. Chris says, I only know because it's happened. Yeah, it's happened to me too. So your advice is very sound and a great reminder even for me. Be careful where you place your fuel, folks. Got more anomalies to scan. I'm gonna start working on it. And I'm still scanning different areas looking for water deposits. Hopefully we'll find something. There you go, that's how you get your colony started. We've now got 10 colonists up here. You can check their comfort levels here. A couple of them are mad because they don't have any gaming, but they're just going to have to shut up and make do because gaming requires electronics, and we're just not doing that right now. It chews through a ton of electronics.
Sector scan.
One of the person wants gambling, another one wants luxuries. Luxury, I can probably go ahead and provide. It's going to cost me polymers, but polymers we can continue to import as needed. It won't be too bad.
Anomaly
Electronics are just pretty expensive for us to run, so you can build an amphitheater and it gives people luxuries. And it's also nice just as a relaxation for the people in your dome. And that'll help make our comfort level a little higher. Some people are angry because they couldn't find a building to go shopping in. It's here, though.
Resources are low.
I may just want to keep it open at night and let people visit it at night. We don't have enough water. So great, I'm about to already start things off wrong here. We need more water. I'm going to have to put in another one of my moisture evaporator prefabs. We'll put it right here next to the dome. Your colonists require extra water usage, obviously, so the number of colonists you have will impact the amount of water that you need, and so will farms. Farms use up water. Certain buildings use it. So make sure you keep up with that, unlike what I was doing, because we were chewing through our water storage relatively quick. That's why you want to have storage. That way if it runs out, at least you get a little bit of warning before you have an opportunity to fix it. Alright, so that should solve the water shortage. And we should hopefully see our stored water start to come up slowly. Looks like it's increasing. It's not increasing quickly, so we're still basically right on the brink for water. So we may want to go ahead and build that last moisture evaporator prefab. This is why it's better to just have a water line. But we don't, because we couldn't find any water. It's kind of an ugly setup. I don't really much like it, but it gets the job done. I'm not going for pretty here. I'm going to be running low on power, so I'm going to have to open up one of my advanced Stirling generators. It's going to start using up some polymers, but we're already going to have to ship polymers up here anyway, but this ought to make people a bit happier. You can see the comfort level is rising. The morale of the colonists is good, so we're definitely into possible baby territory here. So now we just wait, basically. You got 8 more souls. Water is now looking good, so we're going to be increasing our storage. And since we got all those extra prefabs to store extra water, we might as well use it, right? So let's go ahead and build up our water and oxygen storage because we got these prefabs thanks to the glorious leader. I'll put an extra oxygen tank there. And we'll put an extra water tank over here. I'm putting them right next to the dome. Again, so that if stuff goes down, we can still get that. There's some planetary anomalies we can scan. I'm not going to worry about those right now because I'm trying to teach you all about a colony. Alright, so now we can store quite a bit of oxygen and water for such a small number of colonists, so we're in good shape. Things looking promising at the moment. I need the decommissioning research, and I still don't see it down here, so this is not good. So that means we can't tear down any buildings, or else they just sit there as a rusted hulk. So that is not ideal. Thought it was in the engineering tree. Sometimes the techs are randomized, so sometimes you just get unlucky. Scientist and botanist gaining performance would be good, so I'm going to put that in. And I don't really care about probes, but I need to do the research just to open up whatever's next. Alright, here we go. So we're still running through our founder stage. If we get a child, we'll know it because it'll pop up a little message. People are pretty comfortable, all things considered. We can't provide a whole lot else to them at the moment, and so they're fairly comfortable, all things considered. They're liking their theater. Med station is not great, but it's functioning. Exercise, the park. Yeah, people should be pretty happy. About as happy as we can get them at the moment. Go check some of our rovers, because we probably got more tasks to do. Yep, we got more things to research. And our rover here has picked up some metal we can bring back home. There we go. Got a nice fuel supply set up. Found even more anomalies. We're going to unload our metals here. Let's go find some more metal to pick up. There's some right here. Yep, holding steady on comfort and morale, so good news. And it's just a waiting game at this point. I mean, if there's other stuff you need to be building, you can go ahead and be building it, but there's nothing we need to build at the moment. Really just a waiting game, so I like to collect metals, scan resources, keep scanning all the sectors around us. Can start to plan ahead too if there's other resources, like so if we need more metal, we can already see more metal deposits and start picking the ones that you're interested in. Anything else that you're interested in when you want to go live there, so you can just kind of start checking for it.
There's more to the barren environs of the red planet than meets the eye.
So storage compression,
treasure trove
subsurface
of
heating.
undiscovered knowledge and one.
Yeah, that's not all that important. So, yeah, I mean, actually it was kind of good, because now we can skip the probe thing and do this one instead, and then just open up what's next beneath it. We need apartments, so I'm not going to stop that research. Okay. Just make it through our founder stage here before I end for the night. I'm going to go ahead and send one of our rockets back, because it's all fueled up. There goes rocket face. Explosion. Alright, so we'll call that rocket appropriately explosion. I'm going to send that rocket back and make a supply run from Earth. In fact, I can go ahead and call the other rocket from Earth, so I'm going to call in a cargo rocket. I'm just going to bring in some extra advanced materials. Again, we got the funding. Might as well bank a little bit of this stuff just to keep us in the clear. And anytime we bring a rocket up, we should, if we have the funding, which we do, we're sitting very pretty with funding, go ahead and bring up some extra water and power. Just good to keep these things on hand in case something goes wrong, okay? So there we go. Let's just go ahead and launch this rocket. Declan says, if you have the resources, building a network of sensor towers helps with scanning, disasters, and some events. They don't need power either with the autonomous sensor tech. You are correct, Declan, and that's an excellent point. Let's explain sensor towers real quick. When you put a sensor tower in one of these grid squares, it will boost how fast things will scan in the surrounding area. And once you get too far away, you can see that we're not really getting much boost into these areas. So we could build another sensor tower, like if we put it over here. So if we did the autonomous sensor tower tech, you can basically go out and start placing them different places and help with the scanning. So that's the point Declan is making. Plus, the more sensor towers you have, the more warning you get before disasters. And I'll just give you an example. I can't really build one in the next square. Well, we're in that square with one. We could build one in this square. It might help. Like, for instance, I can put a sensor tower down here. Look kind of ugly, but I'll just put it here for the sake of demonstration. There. Just for the sake of demonstration, that's technically in a different grid square where we place that one, so it'll have a different impact area. Plus, it'll give us more notice. So that's what he's talking about with those. Something to keep me busy. That's right, it helps, because right now we're just waiting. We're definitely playing the waiting game. Gathering up resources. We've got more anomalies to go scan.
Research complete.
Still have not found a single water deposit. That is rough.
Building a new home on an alien world, that takes guts, to say the least.
This is cool. One of our founders picked up the enthusiast trait, so that's really good. It means that she's going to work harder. We like working harder. Morale is pretty good. It's just kind of random at this point whether or not you get a kid. If you can drive it higher, then you should. But we can't really do much right now other than waste money on a bunch of like electronics at a game place or something, which I just don't feel like we need to do. Just gonna wait it out. Oh, we want to take the fuel off of that pad too. We're filling up this fuel depot, so I'm gonna make another fuel depot at a respectful distance.
Anomaly analyzed.
Let's just put it over here. Alright, our resupply rocket's here. We're gonna land it. And let's go. We can scan the next anomaly. Alright, so our resupply is here. We have more moisture vaporators should we need it. We have more electricity production should we need it. Right now we are increasing our water storage. It's very slow, but it's increasing.
Research complete.
There we go.
Milestone achieved.
We had our first Martian
For
born.
the first time, a
So
human has been born on Mars.
that's how you get through the founder stage, folks. That's all there is to it. Hopefully these tips helped you out at getting you started in your first colony, and also hopefully you had fun looking at the asteroid exploration. That is where I'm going to call it for now. It's been a couple of hours for us tonight. I do appreciate those who joined and those who made it through the technical difficulties we had earlier, but it seemed to work pretty good afterwards. Hopefully this helps you out, Bones, and it was... oh, why am I forgetting the name right now? The other person who's... it wasn't Protocol, it was... Now I feel stupid. I'm forgetting the name of the other person who asked for help here. It was Bones Malone and... Joe T. Bones Malone and Joe T had been asking for some tips. So hopefully this helped you all. And if anybody else has ended up watching this that needed some tips, hopefully this helped you too. You all have a good evening. I'll be back streaming tomorrow. We're going to be playing some Warhammer 2 multiplayer. I'm going to get on the Discord and send an invite out for folks and tell them how to participate. So if you want to join us tomorrow, make sure you're part of the Discord. But and then Corey said he needs some help too. So Corey, hopefully this helps you too. But yeah, make sure and join me tomorrow. We'll be doing the multiplayer stream. I will see you all then. HeirofCarthage, signing out for now.